Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of Council. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Piper Morley, and I'm legal counsel on behalf of the Normandale Community Residents Association, or NCRA. They live, as many of you know, directly south of the proposed development, with connections to Street D and Street C connecting to Normandale Road. We were very pleased to see that staff was providing an interim report without recommendations other than to receive the report today. We agree that this approach is reflective of the material that has been provided to you to date. There simply is not enough information before us to make an informed decision on this application. And it would be inappropriate to approve or support the development with a long list of conditions and when there are so many fundamental outstanding items. And you heard a long list of those today. I won't go over them again, but I will take you to the one that is specifically of interest to us. The number of outstanding items in this case is simply reflective of the scale of the proposed development. At 2,295 units and 7,250 people, the proposed development is the size of a small town. It simply takes time to make sure that developments of this size do not have major negative impacts on existing Markham residents and represent good planning generally. Council should not feel like they're in any rush to make a decision on this application at all. The applicant has appealed for non-decision, and the matter is currently before the LPAT. A pre-hearing conference will occur in October, and pre-hearing conferences just deal with parties, issues, and potentially scheduling a hearing. The actual hearing likely wouldn't be scheduled, given my experience recently trying to schedule at the LPAT, until late 2019 at the earliest. You have enough time to study this, to understand it, to be informed about it, and to make a decision. And I'd like to say a few words about my client and their particular concerns. My client is not an NIMBY. They do not oppose this development in principle. They have realistic expectations about the planning process and outcomes. They do, however, have one main goal in mind, and it's the same goal as every member of Council: to make sure that growth in Markham happens in a responsible and sustainable manner. My clients understand that the PPS 2014 and the growth plan encourage intensification, but those documents do not say intensification at all costs. Growth has to happen in a manner that keeps up with infrastructure planning, transit planning, GO stations, rapid transit, etc., especially where condominiums and higher density elements are proposed. The Planning Act requires that the Council of a municipality shall have regard to the adequate provision of transportation systems. And the PPS 2014 requires that planning for infrastructure shall be coordinated and integrated with the land use planning so that they are available to meet current and projected needs. The situation before us is that the proponents' traffic experts recognize full stop that no matter what road network was chosen, they chose option B, very little relief is accrued to the two key boundary road intersections of Warden Avenue and 16th with Major Mackenzie Drive. None of the options can provide relief to the operating conditions generated by the existing traffic flows and traffic flows generated by the planned area developments. When considering intersection performance, Poulos and Chung note that with respect to all major arterial intersections surrounding the proposed development, that numerous exclusive vehicle turning movements, especially left turns, experience significant delay and congestion, and the same is true for through traffic. That means people are being stuck in intersections for long periods of time, as you likely well know. This report finds that 16th and Kennedy and 16th and Warden, directly on either side of where my clients currently live, experience high degrees of delay and congestion currently. The experts chose an option that was the least incrementally harmful option to the existing condition. My clients reviewed this report and were naturally concerned, in particular because the report does not consider queuing and intersection performance at Normandale Road. The residents of Normandale can only exit their intersections onto 16th Avenue. If traffic impacts are not carefully studied and considered at Street D and C, Normandale will effectively be stranded from a transit perspective. In order to make sure that this development is planned in an efficient manner that doesn't cause major traffic problems for the surrounding area, it is necessary, at a minimum, to study the intersection performance of Normandale Road and Streets D and C. And that is, in fact, what we are proposing to do. We've retained Lee Consulting to consider both the 2018 Chung report on phasing as well as the 2016 Poulos and Chung report, the traffic assessments and impacts reports. I would like to just make a couple of, I know that I'm out of time, but I would like to make a couple of brief comments on the discussions to date. The discussions are, of course, without prejudice, so I can't go into great detail on those things, but those things that were raised in the staff report, I'm just going to address them. So I'd like to just give you NCRA's take on how the discussions with the proponent have gone thus far. And just to highlight one that is in the staff report, proposing a 15-story condo north of 16th is clearly not addressing my client's concerns with respect to traffic. As you can see, it would just be on Street E. It's not on an arterial road, as is stated in your official plan, and it would be reliant on these two streets to exit in any event. There's no change. There's no difference there. So we remain open to dealing with the applicant and hopefully the municipality as well in finding a solution to the issues that we've raised, which are at their core valid land use planning issues, and these concerns need to be addressed in one form or another. Thank you very much. Those are all of my comments.
Deputy Mayor Heath.
Thank you, and I'm not sure if this question's to you or to our solicitor, but you said that you don't anticipate the OMB, whatever the new initials are, I haven't learned the whatever, that won't be heard until late 2019, and we're projecting October, November 2018. And now maybe I'm asking our solicitors, I'm trying to figure, that seems quite a difference in timing.
Mr. Chair, I think that Ms. Morley was talking about a hearing.
Pre-hearing
well, the pre-hearing is happening in October.
Yes.
A hearing of the matter would be quite some time after that. We're also in a bit of a dark area here because we don't know exactly how LPAT is going to handle this mix of old applications, of which this is one, and the new applications, because applications, appeals filed to LPAT after April are subject to time limitations. The hearing must be held within a certain amount of time depending on the type of application. And so we understand from LPAT that those applications, those appeals will be given priority. So we're uncertain where we would fall in a calendar exercise with LPAT.
So really, and I'm sorry, I guess I'm talking to our solicitors. So really what we're seeing in October are the initial discussions, but not the hearing itself. And if we can't settle or resolve it, then the hearing on this matter could be a year from now, year and a half from now.
Well, through you, Mr. Chair, I wouldn't want to speculate about a year and a half, but certainly what's happening in October is a pre-hearing conference. Our goal is to have a position for the municipality at that pre-hearing conference and then take it from there, determine who the parties are who are in opposition, and then go through the usual case management process.
But Ms. Morley did speculate that the actual hearing could be a year and a half away. And she's nodding her head. She's still on that point. Thank you.
Councillor Hamilton.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair, and I welcome Ms. Morley to the table. A prestigious firm like Borden, Ladner, and Gervais is, I think it speaks volumes to the situation we're in. The Normandale residents want representation. They've tried to work with the developer, and I think there's been some progress, but obviously not enough to satisfy them. So I think bringing you to the table should help, which is once again, Mr. Chair, a reason why the only thing we should be doing today is to receive this report and turn it back to the staff, to the applicant, and to the various residents associations, and now their representatives from various legal firms, to continue to try to make progress in a positive manner. So my question, Mr. Chair, is to Ms. Morley. Do you feel that your client can continue to make some progress now with you at the table.
Oh, absolutely. That's actually my entire agenda here, is to make sure that we can come to a result that is appropriate for the Normandale Community Residents Association as well as the developer. As I said, they're not NIMBYs. They're not saying no development. They just want to make sure that it's done in a way that makes sense for the community and responds to traffic appropriately, given what we all know about traffic on 16th.
Okay. So I once again, Mr. Chair, I'm pushing for just receipt of this. I don't really see there's any need to go into camera. And I'll leave it at that for now. And thank you for your submission that you sent yesterday evening, which was very detailed and I think outlines all the concerns for the Residents Association. And I think you can make progress on it. People just need to sit down and do some more talking. Okay.
Councillor Ray.
Thank you.
Oh, put yourself back on.
Thank you. You were reading, so I presume you have your deputation written down. Can we all get a copy of it? If you can send it to Katie, the clerks.
I can send it. I've written all over this version, but I can certainly send my
And
submissions.
the other clarification through the chair to City Solicitor. My understanding was that they filed an OMB so they could get under the old rules, not the new rules. I didn't think it was because of not making a decision. Or is that the excuse that was used?
Through you, Mr. Chair, the grounds for the appeal are a lack of decision by the municipality.